Parliament at the time the question was put were less than half of all the members of Parliament. Clearly, the record shows that 137 members were present. That number is less than 50% or half of all members of Parliament. As stated already, Article 1041 and our Standing Order 1091 regulate the process of decision-making in the House. The combined effect of these provisions and the standing orders are that the question shall not be put on any matter for a decision to be made unless at least half of all the members are present in the chamber. The Honourable Speaker presiding at the time the question was put appeared not to have adverted his mind to this constitutional and procedural requirements. I'm certain in my mind that given his very wide experience and expertise in Parliament, he would not have fallen into this error if his attention had been drawn to this constitutional requirement. The consequence, though, of the unfortunate error is that the putting of the question of the budget statement and the question on the budget statement and the economic policy was done in violation of Article 1041 of the 1992 Constitution, and therefore void and inconsequential, as the record shows 137 members were in the chamber. Subsequently, the vote and declaration that the budget statement was rejected are also hereby declared to be of no effect. Now that we have the numbers, sufficient numbers to take a decision in the chamber, I'll put the question again. But before that, I'll offer the opportunity to the Finance Minister, if he so wishes, to make his concluding remarks. If he so wishes to make his concluding remarks, as is the practice. Does the Finance Minister wish to make the concluding remarks?
Right Honourable Speaker, honourable members, I thank you for this opportunity. I came to the House to present the 2022 Ajinka budget in November 2017. There has been spirit, including organizations such as FBOs, unions, employers, NUCs, GUTA, AGI, CSOs, etc. I therefore came to this House on Friday, November 26th, with a prayer to speak to the extended leadership of both the majority and minority to enable us discuss these issues. Mr. Speaker, I had humbly reminded the House as to how in the last 5 years there has been a consensus in passing the budget so that we move forward in a unified manner. Unfortunately, this very Ghanaian process was resoundingly rejected last Friday. We as a country must continue to move in unity in these very difficult times. We now move forward, and I'd like to assure the minority that in committee I will look to address their concerns as enumerated in their open letter to the public. Mr. Speaker, there was an issue about acre energy, which we agreed in our statement, Mr. Speaker, that we will correct the language appropriately during committee meetings, and that we commit to do. Mr. Speaker, there was another request which had to do with a JAPA, and we agreed that consultations had not finished. AG still do not include any revenue from that transaction. Mr. Speaker, the minority was also worried about the issue of Brekusu and the coastline. Mr. Speaker, we have 540 kilometers of coastline, and from Aflao to Prampram, about 149 kilometers. Mr. Speaker, we commit to look at this problem for the coastline in the coming weeks to ensure that we have resources for the design study and ensure that all on the coastline are taken care of on a policy basis. Mr. Speaker, they introduced the issue of benchmarks, that the issue of enhancing manufacturing in Ghana is important, and we are committed, Lord, Mr. Speaker, to ensuring that all those traders also become part of the manufacturing enterprise that we want. As you know, already the issue of car assemblies are being done, and half of those 41 items that were included include cars. Mr. Speaker, the big is the e-levy. Mr. Speaker, the e-levy enables us to tackle the three issues of debt sustainability, of infrastructure, and most importantly, of our employment issues. We have 11 million people, youth, and we have in this budget introduced the largest ever youth program of 10 billion Ghana cedis to ensure that the and dignity of our youth working will be a thing of the past, as we speak a common language to move on. But Mr. Speaker, the issue of living standards is a problem that concerns us more than any other person. And we have, therefore, considered the issue of the 1.75% e-levy, in which, Mr. Speaker, we are in discussions with the telcos to scale back to moderate their impact, so that in the end, the impact on the citizenry would be manageable. But we cannot, Mr. Speaker, dissolve our resolve to get the type of resources we need to turn the corner. As you can see in this budget, the concern for the living conditions of our people is evident. We eliminated the toll booths, we increased the level of taxation from 200 to 500.5%. We extended the VAT flat rate, and Mr. Speaker, we introduced a 10 billion program to ensure that our youth have jobs. Mr. Speaker, this is a concerned government, and we intend to continue to go there. But Mr. Speaker, this requires burden sharing and sacrifices from all of us as a nation to cross to the Ghana beyond aid that we all look for. Mr. Speaker, as they say in Twi, Ekwan Inchen Adiyefe, Bayede Sika, Ena, Eto, and Nase Beye. Mr. Speaker, at this juncture, we have some 8% of 30 million people in our nation, with a poor reflection of 14% revenue to GDP ratio. This is a poor reflection of the country, and this must also change. We must all, at this time, bear the burden together. Mr. Speaker, we have nothing to fear but to move forward in a united way. Let us challenge ourselves for the triumph of higher achievement, and let's re-establish the Black Star of Africa for Ghana. All of these issues will be addressed, and we will have established a budget that will build an entrepreneurial nation, resolve our unemployment problems, resolve our debt problems, and ensure that the roads that we all require will be built. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, before we proceed, I have just received communication from the presidency. Mr. Speaker, absent from Ghana, country, in the afternoon of Tuesday, 30th November 2021, to Atlanta, Georgia, United States of America, to attend the 45th Annual Legislative Conference of the National Black Caucus of States Legislators at the invitation of Honorable Representative Billy Mitchell, President of the Association, to be held from 30th to 3rd December 2021 in Atlanta, USA, where the U.S. Vice President, Her Excellency Kamala Harris, and I will be the guest speakers. I will return to Ghana in the evening of Tuesday, 2nd December, Thursday, 2nd December 2021. During my absence, the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, sincerely, Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo. It's addressed to the Right Honourable Speaker, Office of Parliament, Parliament House, Accra. Honourable members, we move to the order paper addendum. Motion. Honourable members, the motion that was moved by the Honourable determined that the appropriate numbers are in the chamber, and therefore the House stands ready to take a decision. Now I'll put the question. I'll put the question. All in favor of the House adopting the resolution moved by the Honourable Minister for Finance, say aye. The ayes have it. The motion moved. The House has adopted the financial. The House has accordingly approved the budget statement for the ensuing year ending 20. Yes, Honourable members, order. Yes, Honourable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. It's just for the avoidance of doubt. I'm not too sure of what I heard. Mr. Speaker, what is before us? What is before us is a motion that this Honourable House approves the budget statement and economic policy of government for the year ending 31st December 2022. If my ears were not deceiving me, I think I heard resolution. It's a motion. If my ears were not deceiving me, I heard you say we approve of the resolution. It's a motion.
Just for the record, let me repeat what I said. This House has approved the budget statement and economic policy of the government for the year ending 31st December 2022, subject to the concessions given by the Finance Minister a couple of minutes ago. That was consequent upon the motion moved by the Finance Minister earlier in the month. Honourable members, order. Order. Yes, Honourable Majority Leader, are we ready to do the motions listed?
Mr. Speaker, respectfully, we have been engaging with a purpose to carry this House and indeed the entire nation along since early morning, 8 o'clock today. And I believe when we got into the time reading a quarter after 5, Mr. Speaker, I believe we've done enough for the day. And I would pray that we adjourn the House in order for us to have some good rest until tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning. The Speaker should submit.
Any seconder of the motion? He has moved the motion for adjournment. I want a secondment. The motion for adjournment has been moved and seconded. All in favor of the House adjourning proceedings now say aye. All against say no. Ayes have it. The House is accordingly adjourned to tomorrow, Wednesday, the 1st of December at 10 o'clock in the forenoon.
Live in Parliament, and as you can see, the Marshal has just lifted the mace showing that Parliament has adjourned. What has transpired in Parliament is after the majority leader moved for that motion for rescission, the Speaker of First Deputy Speaker of Parliament called for a head count. Afterwards, he said there was 137 members of the House, and he added that himself as MP for Bekwai makes it 138 members, and he says that gives them the impetus to conduct business of the House. So the Finance Minister was given the opportunity to give his concluding remarks. In fact, you heard the First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Joe Sewusu, saying that last Friday, that did not happen because that has become a convention in the House that the Finance Minister be giving the opportunity to give his closing remarks. But on Friday, he says that was not happening. So he sees that as an omission. In fact, the majority leader, Chairman Sabonso, actually explained that after adopting that motion of rescission, it actually counters what happened on Friday, which was the rejection of the budget 2022 by the minority caucus. So today, the Finance Minister was given the opportunity, and he also explained further that the e-levy that has been subject of contention is something that the government needs so badly to rule the country. He talks about infrastructure, which the e-levy can help deal with. He talks about the unemployment situation, and he talks about debt sustainability, which the government needs the e-levy to deal with. So he's been explaining why they cannot take off the e-levy from the 2022 budget. So The 137 members of the House, including the first Deputy Speaker himself, he says makes it 138, actually have approved the 2022 budget. The question was posed there, and if you've been watching the JoyNews channel, you saw that there was a loud yes from the majority side. Of course, the minority. So that is what has happened in Parliament. The 2022 budget has been approved. Remember, the majority has insisted that what happened on Friday was unconstitutional. Today, they say what has happened is actually what the Constitution requires, that there should be more than half of members in the House to do business of the House. And as the first Deputy Speaker rightly put it, there are 137 members from the majority side, himself included, making it 138. And so they had the locus to conduct business of the House. So that is what has happened. Where is the minority? Parker, bring us up to speed what has transpired in Parliament, especially why the minority is absent. Are they still in the House, actually? Okay, so we can see that there's a press conference about to happen. So Parker is also getting ready for us. But let's listen to what this press conference is offering us. And I can see, all right, so I'm unable to see who is about to address the conference. It looks like it's John Jinapor. John Jinapor. Is he the one? Okay, so let's monitor what is happening in Parliament. My colleague Parker Wilson will be joining us shortly for more and pick reactions from members of Parliament there. All right, so that's not John Jinapor. The mask is making it difficult for me to identify who is about to address the press, but there's something that is about to happen in Parliament. Let's go live to Parliament and listen to what is about to happen. By the NPP. So this is a press conference by the majority in Parliament. We still haven't spotted the minority members. And I mean, everybody is curious to know what this press conference is about, perhaps to explain what has happened in Parliament, because especially the question many are asking is why the Speaker himself should count himself as a part of the members in the House. I can see Oseche Mensah Bonsu, who has also showed up. Okay, so Oseche Mensah Bonsu is also joined. Let's listen to him.
We know that time to take. Thank you.
Members of the media, I think you just witnessed what happened in the chamber today in response to what happened in the chamber last Friday. Because of that, over the weekend, and indeed this morning, we have been in consultation with our colleagues to enable us approach this outstanding business in unison and in unity. Unfortunately, we got to some extent and we differed on two counts. One had to do with the e-levy matter, and the other to do with the procedure to attend to what we consider an impropriety about what happened last Friday. The House, as you do know, was purported last Friday to have taken a decision on the budget. It was to the effect that Parliament had rejected the economic policy and budget statement of the government for the 2022 financial year as presented to the House by the Minister of Finance on behalf of His Excellency the President on Wednesday, 17th November 2021. On our part, we considered it as a nullity because it did not meet the provisions of Article 104 of the Constitution, which is fortified by our own standing orders, Order 109. On these two counts, what was done, purportedly done, was in flagrant violation of our own orders and the Constitution. And we thought that as a House, we should come to some determination on this together. Because, colleagues, this is not the first time such a thing has come before the House. I refer us to something that happened during the day of the Honorable Do Ajaho as the Speaker of the House. A decision had been made by the House, and Ajaho, Right Honorable Do Ajaho, came with a statement which should have informed the Speaker about what he did. And I'm quoting from a ruling of the Supreme Court which they extracted from our own Hansard. And I'm quoting the President in the House. Indeed, this is not the first time the House is facing this problem. The Speaker should have followed the precedent set by his predecessors. When a similar issue arose in the 6th Parliament on the 22nd of December 2015, the then First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Ebo Barton Odro, after reading Order 1091 of the Standing Orders, ruled that the whole voting process was an exercise in futility. It's akin to what we just did. Later in the day, the Speaker, Right Honorable Edward Kobi Do Ajaho, again ruled on the same matter as follows. And I'm quoting what Ajaho also said. Honorable members, you are aware that this House is not supreme. We are subject to the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. The rule is that where the Constitution has made a provision for regulation of the business of the House, they take precedence over any other. Indeed, the standing orders of this House. There is quorum to do business, and that is according to Ajaho, who understood the imperatives of our rules, our statutes, and our Constitution. He says there is quorum to do business, and that is 1/3 of the House, and there is quorum to take a decision. So we need to draw a distinction between the quorum to do business and the quorum to take a decision. The quorum to take a decision is regulated by Article 104(1). The fundamental question is, and I'm still quoting Ajaho, is that the time that the vote was taken, 1091 of our standing orders, if you go by the results of the head count, and there had been a head count, by adding 67 to 66, we will get 133. Therefore, there is a serious constitutional issue here. So at the time that the votes were taken, this House lacked the legal, in fact, the constitutional capacity to take a decision. I would have thought that our speaker would have been guided by this president. This quotation by his predecessor speaker. So I entirely endorse the position taken by the Honorable First Deputy Speaker that we do not have the number, constitutionally speaking, to take a decision. Therefore, in respect of this, no decision has been taken. That's the president. So nobody is manufacturing this from anywhere. It has happened before in the 6th Parliament, and there is a record of this. So, compatriots, what we have done is just to recognize the fact that what happened on that day was a complete violation of the Constitution. It cannot stand the test of any constitutional test or even the test of our own standing orders. So, it is the reason why we said that it is a nullity, it is void, and it's of no effect. What we did today is to indeed recognize that something happened. But what happened really was a nullity, an illegality. So what we did today was to reinstate, so to speak, the original motion and have a properly constituted House take a vote on it. And as you have seen, the decision is that we have approved of the motion submitted to this House, the budget statement and economic policy of the government for the year ending December 31st, 2022. That, in short, is what we have done today. So for emphasis, the budget of 2022 was never rejected by the House, and today the record has been set straight. I thank you, and thank you very much.
So what do I do?
Let's head the Oseche Mensah-Bonsu, who is Majority Leader of the House, explaining what has just happened in the chamber. He explained that this is not the first time this is happening, and in fact, he draws inspiration from a similar event under the then Speaker of Parliament, Edward Doa Jao, and he says that it's the same thing that happened when they had to cross that bridge. And he mentioned Article 104, which has been the subject for discussion all this while since Friday when this happened. And he said, Doa Jao guessed that the minority did not have the constitutional capacity to take a decision last Friday when they did. And so what they did today was to reinstate a proper motion from the finance minister and also to be approved by a properly constituted House, which earlier was indicated by the First Deputy Speaker to be 137 members plus himself, making it 138. So he says what has happened in Parliament is not a conjecture or anything from something that has not happened before. It is abiding by the Constitution. And he says, per the Constitution, this is the proper thing that should have been done. And he's saying that what happened on Friday, should be considered null and void. He says the 2022 budget was never rejected. Today, the proper thing has been done. Let's connect live with Parker Wilson, who is our correspondent in Parliament. Parker, what else can you tell us? What has been the reaction in Parliament, Parker? All right, so we've lost Parker there. I'm told he's on radio. But, of course, expect this. We'll be bringing you this in our subsequent bulletin because there is more to chew on from Parliament, from what has just happened in Parliament, and from the explanation that the Majority Leader has been providing as to what has happened in Parliament. That's where we draw the curtains on the Pulse this evening. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Enjoy the rest of our programs.